Welcome. We are here today to talk about women's rights. We're here today to talk about children's rights. Rights that are being perniciously chipped away under the guise of progress. Less than 100 years ago, women weren't considered persons under the law. That is, until incredible women, our fellow Albertans, Emily Murphy, Nellie McClung, Irene Parlby, Louise McKinney, and Henrietta Muir-Edwards took their concerns to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council of Great Britain after the Supreme Court of Canada denied their case. They demanded equal representation, and they did not stop until they were successful. Work like this led to women being allowed to participate in governing our cities, our provinces, and our country. These brave women gave us the opportunity to use our voices, and we honor them today by doing just that.
Woo! Woo-hoo! Woo!
This isn't about left-wing or right-wing politics. This is about women.
Yes.
This is about us and our rights to freedom of expression, to bodily autonomy, to private spaces, to gather in exclusive groups, to our sports, to our scholarships, to our choice of sex partners, to our choice of healthcare provider, and to our right to name our abusers without fear of repercussions because we used the wrong pronoun or name. Our crime statistics are being compromised. Our most vulnerable population, incarcerated women, mostly Indigenous women of color, are being placed in even more danger under new laws that allow male sex offenders to be housed in women's prisons.
Yeah. Yes.
This isn't about being liberal or conservative. It's about being adult human females who have experienced oppression on the basis of our biological sex. This isn't something we can just identify out of. This is a trick that will cure the real issues that we're faced with. Do not misunderstand. We are explicitly and exclusively pro-woman. Any insistence that we are hateful or bigots or fascist is a deliberate misinterpretation and misrepresentation of what we're saying and of our goals.
Woo! Woo! Yeah!
Women around the world are standing up and speaking out. Groups of women have formed all over the world and continue to work to protect ourselves and our children from the creeping monster of identity politics and the idea that biological sex doesn't exist or matter.
Right.
Woo!
Pushing back.
The Canadian Department of Justice has a section on its website under Women and the Criminal Justice System called Definitions. In this section, heterosexual is defined. Homosexual is not. Gender appears, not sex, but sex assigned at birth, when we know that sex is observed, not assigned. One can also conveniently identify into an Indigenous identity under these definitions. The word man is not defined, but woman means all people who identify as women, whether they are cisgender or transgender women. If we cannot accurately define biological sex, or man, or woman, we lose the ability to describe our oppression and to work for our own liberation.
Yep. Woo!
Gender-based violence is defined as violence targeted at a person because of their gender, gender expression, gender identity, or perceived gender, completely erasing what women and girls go through explicitly because we are female. If we allow gender to be prioritized over sex, for an ideology to be prioritized over reality, if we lose our language, we are lost. The laws protecting us are lost. So, today, we stand in the footprints of the Canadian feminists who came before us, who demanded that we be acknowledged and protected on the basis of our sex, who fought tooth and nail for the rights that we have today, the same rights being undermined by a new cult-like religion that requires obedience and acceptance of medical experimentation without question, without complaint, under the threat of social and professional alienation and blacklisting. We have to stop staying quiet.
Yes!
We have to stand up. Women say no. Women will speak.
We will. Yeah. Yes.
Alberta women will speak.
Yes.
We are. And you will hear us whether you like it or not. Magdalene Burns said it is not hate to defend your rights, and it's not hate to speak the truth. The truth is ugly, but the consequences of denying reality are worse. We need a new women's revolution. We need women's liberation. So here we are on the steps of the Alberta Legislature, exercising our right to freedom of expression. My name is Rain McLeod. I'm the president of Alberta Women's Advocacy Association. I founded Alberta Radical Feminists. I'm the WHRC Canada English coordinator. I'm from Calgary, and I know that women are adult males and that biological sex is the foundation of our oppression. Please join me in welcoming our first speaker, Aline Cormier. Aline Cormier is a translator and retired court interpreter who self-published last summer a coffee table book titled What is a Woman? As a fundraising project for Vancouver Rape Relief and Women's Shelter. Last fall, she sent the Prime Minister a copy of Heather Brunskill-Levin's Transgender Body Politics with a card to which 70 Canadian women from 10 provinces and territories had added their name due to the concerns over the government's proposed Bill C-6. Woo!
Woo!
Welcome.
Thank you, Rain, for that very inspiring speech. My name is Aline Cormier, and I'm honored to be the first provincial coordinator for WHRC Alberta. I'm taking the mic today because I would like to say a few words about WHRC in French to the francophones in the audience. In a country that has 2 official languages, it is important that both be represented. Besides, I know that many francophone women in Canada are just as upset about the erosion of our rights as our anglophone sisters.
Yeah.
Mesdames, Messieurs, bonjour et bienvenue à la toute première manifestation de WHRC en Alberta. Je m'appelle Aline Cormier et j'ai le grand honneur d'être la première coordonnatrice provinciale de WHRC Alberta. La campagne pour les droits humains des femmes est un regroupement de femmes bénévoles partout dans le monde qui se consacrent à la protection des droits des femmes et des filles fondée sur le sexe biologique. Sa déclaration pour les droits des femmes fondée sur le sexe biologique réaffirme les droits des femmes et des filles fondés sur le sexe biologique et réclame l'élimination de la discrimination résultant du remplacement de la catégorie sexe par celle d'identité de genre. Cette déclaration compte au-delà de 17 000 signataires dans 132 pays en collaboration avec plus de 300 organismes. Je tiens à remercier chaleureusement toutes celles qui ont répondu à l'appel à appuyer la cause des femmes aujourd'hui. Elles sont nombreuses à avoir fait de longues heures de route pour se joindre à nous. Elles sont venues de Calgary, Cochrane, Fort McMurray, Saskatoon et j'en passe. Ceci n'est que la première manifestation à l'appui des femmes de notre regroupement et j'espère avoir le plaisir de vous revoir très bientôt. Thank you to all you marvelous, courageous women who carve time out of your busy schedules here today, to come here today to show your support for women.
Woo! Thank you, Aline.
Charlotte Garrett is a born and bred Albertan who currently lives in Saskatchewan and is the WHRC Saskatchewan coordinator. She's a teacher and writer who became active for girls and women's rights when a family member headed for elite sport realized her place could be taken by a male competitor. Welcome, Charlotte.
Woo!
Go Charlotte! All the way from Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Woo! Woo!
Hi everybody, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
So, thank you Rain, thank you Aline. I'm so pleased to be here today. Okay.
Yay!
So I am a teacher, I'm a mother, and I'm a grandmother, and I care. I have a duty of care. I'm only able to stand here today because of the women before me who fought for sex-based rights.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes!
You all know what those rights are. What are they?
Sex-based rights.
The right to vote,
Yep.
to private washrooms, to go to school, to play sports,
Yep.
to win scholarships,
Yep.
to choose to have children, the right to equal pay, which of course we still haven't met yet. We want to walk freely. We want to be able
Yeah.
to speak to our truth. So here's a pop quiz. What's 5 plus 5?
10.
like, okay, so you're firmly grounded in material reality. But what happens when a child responds to 5 plus 5? Hopefully, well, in fact, we are supporting that child to feel secure in the material world, to help them to realize the space that human beings occupy is a physical body-mind relationship in a finite time, as all are living things in a precious, ecological, intricately connected system. We all know that that system is plundered almost beyond the Earth's capacity to support life. This life support includes our children. If a child is taught that 5 plus 5 equals whatever you feel it to be, you are destabilizing material reality, the very ground the child occupies. Of course, I am speaking here to the current Canadian educational system that teaches to an ideological gender rather than evidence-based scientific facts of human biology.
Right.
Yes.
What are the biological rights of girls? They are protected, as we know, since 1981 under the United Nations Committee of the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, and since 1982 by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which enshrines the sex-based rights of girls and women.
Yay!
Yet these freedoms are being undermined in the very place that the children's hungry selves are to learn, the classroom.
Yes.
Yep.
Linda says, you can see her sign, identities don't play sports, bodies play sports.
Woo! Woo!
I say identities don't go to school, bodies go to school.
Yes.
From play school through university. Identity formation is a lifelong process.
Yes.
We all grow up. We can't help it, right? Unless, of course, we're given all kinds of drugs and hormones to stop that. We are able to make sound decisions when our frontal development completes, our frontal lobe, age 25. In that process, children are supposed to be supported by teachers in the context of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, hang on.
Gotta flip my pages.
Talking science and development. Good.
A solid foundation in reality for children is necessary in order to flourish.
Yes.
To be able to discern fact from fiction and sort through ideological nonsense as they mature. Adolescents, we know, are like the prairie weather. It changes every 5 minutes. As the Canadian physician Dr. Susan Bradley has said, sometimes kids don't know what they want for breakfast. Never mind consider the concept of gender based on regressive stereotypes. Last September, the UK New School Guidance instructed their educators and administrators that no outside material be brought into the classroom. They were instructed that teachers may no longer say that kids can be born in the wrong body.
Woo!
They were instructed to say that a child can choose whatever they want to wear, and no one says, oh, maybe you're really a boy. Oh, maybe you're really a girl. But that doesn't happen here. It is not so. Here, a child's right to safety of the person is not protected. Safeguarding the child is not a priority in Canada.
Shame.
Whoa. Shame.
Ridiculous.
Boo.
Save the children.
All right, the word safety has been co-opted. Now girls are taught to move over, to give up the ground that they stand on, to give up space in all areas of their lives. Safe safety does not mean for them, but for others.
Yep.
We teach our cherished girls to trust their instincts, to feel their bodies and their physical space, which is then undermined when they are taught to move over, that their body could be wrong, that they could be born in the wrong body. If kids are disturbed at this fundamental level of being, their entire reality is up for grabs. Girls must trust their instinctive knowledge of their body-mind. That is the XX chromosomes that are in every single cell of the body. It is an innate intelligence. My mother told me when she was giving birth to me that she experienced a vision of her mother, Ida, giving birth to her, that she witnessed in her imagination, in her feeling, her mother Maggie giving birth to her, and her mother Charlotte giving birth to her, and her mother Anne giving birth to her, and her mother Mary, back and back and back, as Alice Munro puts it, back and back. It is this XX body-mind that gives us the connection to go back and back, to understand the back and back. It is ours to claim, to know, to teach our daughters this sense of belonging in time, our girls, not to be severed from it.
Right.
The rights of girls includes the rights to know what they know,
Yes.
Yes.
to trust their instincts,
Yes.
to say what is true, to maintain their language, to use the verb to be, and to not shut up.
Yes.
Listen, listen. Your feet is sideways.
Alana just told me that it was sideways the other way.
She just told me the ABRF is sideways.
That was awesome. Kathleen Lowry is an associate professor of anthropology at the University of Alberta. Reading Gallus Mag's website is what raised her consciousness about gender ideology starting around 2014-2015. She published her first piece about these issues on Feminist Current in 2018. In 2020, student objections to her feminist views led to her dismissal from an administrative post within the U of A. She does not recant. She is unfortunately not here to speak in person today, but here is a recording that she sent to us for today's event.
Woo!
Can you ask her if it's straight?
Please bear
She
with
said
me.
they're good now.
Perfect.
It's so weird.
I wish I were standing shoulder to shoulder with you today. All week I've been thinking of the modified version of Shakespeare's famous line from Henry V. We few, we happy few, we band of sisters.
Woo!
The advanced word was that we might not be so few after all today. Whatever our number, we are few in comparison to how many we're going to become. Today is an important day in the history of Alberta feminism, Canadian feminism, and world feminism. In the fact of your presence, you are each a manifestation of the renewal of feminist political action in the 21st century.
Woo!
This renewal is taking place because it is desperately needed. We've watched in horror and disbelief as rights we considered safe have collapsed, and people we've considered allies have turned on us.
Yeah.
But we're no longer gasping for breath at the swiftness and sheer aggression of these reversals. We're clear-eyed about what is at stake, and we understand that this fight is going to be long, fierce, and still for some time to come, lonely.
Yep.
And yet, I think I speak for all of us in saying that we are excited, and full of courage, full of solidarity, and above all, full of hope about feminist political action.
Yes.
Say what you will about gender identity ideology and trans activism, they remind us very starkly of why feminism exists. If womanhood is an arbitrary social category that anybody can sign up for kicks, feminism is ridiculous and unnecessary. If, on the other hand, womanhood is both a material fact of life and a source of vital power, having an analysis of the control and exploitation of women is fundamental and liberatory. It's why feminism exists.
Yes.
Gender identity ideology and trans activism have dragged us onto such absurd terrain, they've reminded us of some elementary principles. They've prepared us to return with renewed clarity to other kinds of unfinished feminist business. These are the fight against pornography, the fight against the prostituting of women and children,
Yes.
and the fight against surrogacy.
Yes.
I think the gender ideology fight is, in the long run, a mere preamble. The assertions of trans activism are silly and unsupportable, and the public is increasingly saying so too. One does not have to be a feminist to understand that having men in women's sports, and women's spaces, and women's prisons, and medicalizing resistance to sexual stereotyping in children are all bad ideas.
Yes.
One does have to be a feminist to see that these aggressive incursions into the lives and bodies of women and children are continuous with the exploitation of the lives and bodies of women and children in the production of pornography, with the exploitation of the lives and bodies of women and children in prostitution, and with the exploitation of the lives and bodies of women in the practice of what is euphemistically known as reproductive surrogacy. Resistance to one mode of male aggression leads inexorably to other resistances. That's why we face so much ferocious opposition for asserting common sense on gender identity ideology. But it's also why we're finding so many women swelling the ranks of feminist political action these days. They see what we see. They're making the connections we're making. So let me close with this. Here's to you, my dear sisters, and here's to the sisters who will be joining us in the months and years to come.
Here, here.
Woo! Here, here.
To March.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Kathleen. Thank you.
Woo!
Linda Blade
Woo!
is a coach and the president of Athletics Alberta.
Yeah.
She has a PhD in kinesiology from Simon Fraser University,
Woo!
a chartered professional coach designation in track and field,
Woo!
and is a former champion heptathlete.
Woo!
If anyone is qualified to talk about the differences between male and female bodies, it's Linda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and just hold this down. No, there is no holding down.
There's no holding down. You can hear me?
All right.
All right. Afternoon, everybody. So, yes, my name is Linda Blade. I live and work in Edmonton. I am a sport performance coach and serve as elected president of Athletics Alberta. The very name, Alberta, was taken from one of the daughters of Queen Victoria back in 1905. It strikes me that this daughter, Princess Louise Caroline Alberta, was intelligent, outspoken, and curious. You know that her nickname in youth was Little Miss Y. Well, guess what? Guess what? Distinguished daughters of Alberta who have come after her also happen to be great at asking why.
Woo!
100 years ago, 5 women came together right here in Edmonton because they realized that female citizens in Canada were not considered to be human persons under the law. Just like Louise, Alberta, they were asking why. Why are women in Canada not considered persons? Why are women in Canada not able to serve in all bodies of leadership, including the Senate? Here are the names of the suffragettes. I will list them while I'm turning the page. Emily Murphy, Irene Parlby, Louise McKinney, Henrietta Muir-Edwards, and Nellie McClung. Do you know that in this very city of Edmonton, where we stand today, each of these women actually have a park named after them?
Woo!
They were great, they paved the way for us, and we celebrate their achievement.
Yeah.
When they first got together and started making some noise, they were called the Alberta Five. Next, after withstanding challenges, they persisted and they were called then the Valiant Five.
Yeah.
After finally winning their case and thereby ensuring that women in Canada are indeed to be recognized as persons in the law with equal rights as men to the ballot box and to leadership positions, they were called the Famous Five. Russian there. It was specifically about the equality of sexes, biological sex. The term gender identity did not exist back then. Well, now, a century later, there are many more of us, right?
Yes.
Today, on May 2, 2021, we stand together at the epicenter of that momentous struggle to launch a new movement and to ask once again, why? Why are our sex-based rights of female persons in Canada being negotiated away?
Woo!
Why?
Why?
Why are Canadian leaders in government and society so quick to capitulate to an ideology that seeks to secure unimpeded access of male bodies into women's sports?
Why?
Why?
Yeah, why? Why? Women's prisons? Why? Women's hospitals? Why? Women's shelters?
Why?
Women's washrooms? Why? The famous five of old, just like them, we gather today in this new century to serve notice. We're serving notice that we will not stop asking why until we reclaim our sex-based rights.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
Female persons of today, as well as future generations of Canadian women and girls, have the right to live in dignity and security. My sisters and allies, let them count on us to fight this battle for them. Thank you very much.
Woo! Yeah, Linda.
Thank you to everyone who took the time to attend today's event, either in person or online. We want you to know that this may be the first Alberta Women Speak, but it will not be the last.
Yes.
So here's to women's rights. Stay safe, stay rad.
Woo!
That's it. We're done.
Woo!